I implemented a done with you offer into my agency and added $1.7 million in revenue pretty much overnight. And in this video, I'm gonna give you everything you need to know so you can too.
So honestly, this is like the simplest thing ever. And I wish it didn't take me like 7 years of my journey to do it. So please just copy this. It's going to make you a lot richer and make you a lot more money off your current leads, okay? And we're going to speak about basically launching a done with you offering from your done for you applications. And look, you don't have to have an application process. If you're watching this right now, you probably have some kind of done for you offering. Now, if you have a done for you offering, you most likely have some form of qualification, whether that's, you know, maybe ad spend if you're a marketing business like me, maybe it's revenues, whatever, right? Country, whatever, okay? For the most part, most businesses though, if they've got a done for you offering, will qualify based off of revenue. For us, I'm just going to tell you straight up what ours is. We have 2 qualifications. So number 1 is they have to be a business doing 10K a month in revenue. And then number 2 is they have to be willing to spend at least $100 a day on ads. And for us, arguably, the second one is more important. For any marketing agencies watching this, you know, real simple math, you know this, that, you know, let's say our clients spend, you know, 1K a month, but our fee is 3K a month. They're going to have to essentially make a 3 times return on ad spend just to break even on our fee before we even consider their cost of goods or making any kind of profit. So basically doesn't work, okay? So for us, $100 a day is the more important qualifier, but we do want clients to have both when they come on board. So before we dive into too much more, I'm going to actually break down the full funnel step, all the conditions, the cause, the structure, everything you need to know about how to actually make this work off your current lead flow. But before that, let me just speak a little bit about what our done with you offering actually is. So as I mentioned, we are a marketing business that offers Facebook ads, Google ads, email marketing for our customers. Super simple, done for you marketing agency. No bells and whistles. It's as simple as that, okay? What do we offer within our done with you marketing offering that we don't do in our done for you offering? We simply do everything that we would do for done for you, except we don't click the buttons. So let me explain. So if you've got a done for you offering right now, I'll use my marketing agency as an example. We come in and what do? Well, we basically, you know, kill ads. We set up creative tests. We structure the account. You know, we basically scale the account. Okay. So what do? We still help our clients get that same outcome, but instead of us being the one to kill the ad, we just tell them how to kill the ads, what ads to kill. Okay, so it's still one-on-one. We tell them exactly what ads to kill, but we let them do it. Creatives, rather than us developing the creatives, we send our clients examples of great creatives and let them go and do it and provide feedback on it. We tell them how to structure their ad account. We teach them how to scale. But again, one-on-one, we tell them exactly what ads to scale and how to scale it. So it's the exact same as the done for you offering, except we just do it with them. So it's personalized. It's not just a course. It's not do it yourself. It's done with you in the sense it's fully personalized, but we consult. Now, how do we do that? We do that very simply through Slack communication and video audits. So again, rather than us clicking the buttons, we tell them through Slack DMs, they can message us every day, and through video audits of their account, exactly what they need to do. Really, really, really simple. Fun fact on this as well. Let's say on our agency right now, our average account manager can handle, 12 clients on done for you. What's really funny is our average account manager on done with you can handle a lot more than 12 clients. Honestly, 50 plus, okay? Idea on pricing, what we do, our done for you fee starts at 2K a month. Our done with you fee starts at 1K a month. So essentially it's about 50% down, okay? 50% of the price. But what's interesting, we can actually handle a lot more than 100% more accounts. So our actual billable per account manager, we're actually more profitable per account manager on our done with you offering, which is a really funny thing actually, even though this is like a downsell, but this is part of what makes it really, really, really profitable for us and an absolute no-brainer if you're offering this right now within your business. And what's funny is with our done for you service, if you have a done for you service, in order to get the client bought into your strategies, you still need to educate them on why you're making every decision you make. You still keep them proactively updated through the process. Even though they're not doing it, we found it's still really important to educate our clients. So it's literally the exact same. We're still educating our customers. We're just not the ones actively implementing the campaigns, generating the creatives and clicking the buttons. So whatever it is that you offer right now, instead of being the one to do it for them, you basically just want to coach them and give them all the one-to-one resource for them to do that thing themselves, okay? But what's really, really beautiful about this as well, we have a couple of little add-ons, but this is really key, okay? You basically want to create, if you do create add-ons, you want to create some form of leveraged add-ons. This is really, really important for Done With You. What do I mean by leverage? I mean, basically, you lift a lot of weight, okay, but easily. So what can you do here? We have two things, okay? Number one, they get a pre-recorded course. Really simple. I film a video next week and put it into the program. It benefits all the customers, whether I have 2 customers or 2,000, okay? Leverage. I spend the 15 minutes to film a video or 2 days to film a full course. Everybody benefits from that. Number 2, group coaching. And we basically do 1 session a day, Monday through Friday. So 5 sessions a week. We don't get tons of uptake on this, by the way. It was more of a bolt on just from a pitch perspective. It's a nice little add-on, but most people don't really ever use this because most people just use their one-to-one channels. Because again, why would you do a group coaching call when you could just ask one-on-one? But some people like to do that just to get, quicker real-time one-on-one answers, bit of back and forth if they need to. But yeah, group coaching. This does have more of a ceiling. It's not like a course where you could literally have 1 million customers in and 2. Like, you can't have 1 million people on a group coaching call. That's not going to work. But we've got hundreds of Done With You clients right now, and we have no problem with capacity of the group coaching calls. So again, whether you've got 2 customers or 200 customers, that's still only 5 hours a week, okay? So we've basically created additional benefits regardless whether there's 2 customers, 2,000 for essentially 5 hours a week extra work. So if you do add anything to this offering, you want to make sure it's leveraged. Okay, so that's what our Done With You offering is. Really simple. But now I'm going to go into the meat of it, which is how do we actually extrapolate this revenue? Because it's really important to, it might be called, okay, now I know how to do Done With You offering. Now I know how to turn my, service into a Done With You offering. Great. But how do I actually make money from my current leads? This is the secret sauce. And I'm going to give it to you right now. So let's dive straight into it. So if you're like me right now, you have a Done For You offering, you have qualification as we discussed. So for us, just to write it back on the board here, that was $100 a day in ad spend and minimum 10K a month. Now, in revenue, okay? What was happening before? Well, what happening before was very simple. Anybody that come in that matched this, that was qualified, okay, would go down here and they would get booked in with a closer. Really simple, okay? They complete an application on Jotform. If they're qualified, meaning they answer questions in the application and they give answers that make them qualified, so they put their ad spend as over 100 a day, they put their revenue as over 10K a month, they get conditioned as qualified, and then they get directed to a page to book in with the closer. Before, what was happening is if they didn't do this, they were disqualified and they would basically get put to a thank you page that just said, thank you so much for applying. Now's not a good time because you're not at $100 a day or 10K a month in revenue. When you reach both of these milestones, please rebook back in. And essentially what was happening is after that thank you page, they were then getting put into a little nurture sequence. So they were getting put into our email list on a nurture sequence, and we'd occasionally send them emails and drop a CTA, but it didn't do a shed load, okay? Because there are some businesses that come back in the future and think, I really want to work with them. They were staying nurtured. It's better than not having this. It was semi-automated, but you know what it's like when somebody sees an ad or they're keen to apply, they get referred, however you acquire customers. In that moment, something's triggered to get them to take action. That might be gone in a week, and in 6 months, bloody hell, there's a chance they've seen somebody else's ad and they've been onboarded by somebody else, right? So it wasn't the best way from conversion, but we changed it, okay? So we changed it, and essentially what happened is right around here, rather than being disqualified, we implemented a really simple system. So rather than being disqualified, what instead happened is they got booked in for triage and then got booked in with a closer, okay? So we had a setter basically put in place here just on 15-minute calls whose sole job was to jump on and make sure that they were open to the idea of going down the Done With You offering. Now, I've got a really powerful way to get super high conversions on this, so stick with me. But if you don't know what a triage call is, very, very simple. They get booked in, and anybody who was... just for a bit of context here, actually, triage does 2 things. Basically, it's not just to qualify based off of if they want Done With You. It's also, because they might be disqualified based off revenue, it's also to qualify based off of finances as well here. So they get booked into a triage call. they speak to a setter. The setter basically does two things. Number one, ask questions about the business, make sure that they're financially qualified to actually invest, and then sees if they're open to the idea of doing done with you instead of done for you. Now, this is really, really, really key here. We weren't just positioning it as a done with you offering. We were positioning it, and this is the secret sauce, okay? We're positioning this as a prep plan. Because remember, when people are booking these calls, they're wanting it oftentimes taken off their plate. They've booked done for you because they want that extra hand holding, whether that's marketing services or whatever it is that you offer in your business right now. They're wanting done for you because they want to make it as easy as possible on themselves, maybe save a bit of time, or they want the most fast track way to get there, okay? And they've booked this call with that in mind, and you have to really have to understand that. So what we found, which increased conversions and uptake on this, is we positioned done with you as a prep plan. So we said, look, unfortunately right now, you're not a good fit for done for you. But the key word here is right now. We want to get you to a position where you're qualified to work with us. And for context, what that is, in our instance, that's 10K a month revenue and $100 a day in ad spend. And look, I know you're not there right now, but here's what I propose. You could go to another agency, another freelancer that probably could do done for you right now, granted. But anybody who's really good at what they do isn't going to do that because, and I'll go into the analogy above and say, look, if you're finding someone right now who's good, they're going to charge you, okay? And if they're good and they're going to charge you, they're probably going to be at least 2 or 3K a month. Is that right? Yes. Okay. The problem is you only have $1,000 a month to spend on ads right now, which means you need a 3x return on ad spend just to cover agency fees. So the only option is you're going to have to go and find somebody cheap. Would you agree? Yes. Okay. But do you understand why that could be a bad idea? Because obviously cheap's probably going to be not very good quality, and not very good quality in this instance is your ads, which means your revenue. And obviously you don't want to cheap out on that because it's going to cost you more money in the long term. Would you agree? Yes. Okay. So you get them bought into that idea. So here's what I propose. You booked a call here because you think that we're going to be able to help you get the results. You've probably seen some of our screenshots, seen what we've achieved for other clients. But you don't even realize a lot of those clients were actually in your position where they didn't come straight on board for done for you, but we actually took them down a different path, which is our done with you offering. And essentially it's like a prep plan. So the goal is to get you in. We work with you, okay, at 50% of the price to make it make more sense for you from an ROI perspective. We work with you to get you to a stage where you're then ready to ascend into our done for you plan. And the second we get you to above 10K a month in revenue and $100 a day in ad spend, we'll send you right into our done for you offering and take it off your plate, okay? Is that something that you're open to, okay? And basically what you want to do in that stage is you just want to implement whatever it is your qualification is here, okay? Really simple. By framing it as a prep plan, it does two things. Number one, your increase on the triage calls, the conversion rate on those goes up massively. But B, your ascensions, oh my God, your ascension rate, if you do this right and help them achieve the result, will be almost 100% of people, if you can help them achieve this result, will ascend, okay? So what does the number one goal then become? This is key, so make sure you write this down. The number one activation point, and by activation point, and essentially an activation point is the key / best possible time to ascend somebody. So it's like a point of activation to be like, hey, I need to get in contact now to ascend. Now, on a usual partnership, if they're doing usual done for you services with you, let's say Facebook ads, and you want to ascend them to Google, usually a good activation point will be they're getting fantastic results. They send a message and they're overjoyed, they're over the moon, okay? That would usually be seen as an activation point. In this instance, your sole purpose of the prep plan is to get them to the point at which they would have been qualified, okay, to work with you on done for you. So again, in our instance, $100 a day, 10K a month. The second that they hit that, we want to ascend them, okay? Now I'm going to speak a bit about ascensions here. And actually, what's funny is you can actually end up making more money even in the first 30, 60 days than you would if they actually become a done for you client straight out of the bat. I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second. But your key activation point and the number one goal of the prep plan is to simply get them to the point at which they would have been qualified. And look, if you're an agency watching this, what's really funny is oftentimes we notice a real big trend, which is even though they were come on board to have help with their ads, oftentimes ads weren't the issue. They had conversion rate issues. They had sales, like a funnel issue. They had a sales team issue, like a bad shirt rate or bad close rate. You know, maybe their AOV was too low. Maybe they had a really poor LTV. These are all like external things outside of ads. And we found by consulting on these, really quickly we could get them around, and sometimes as quick as like the first 30 days, and then basically that activation point is there and we can just ascend them right up. But here is the key. Okay, so that happens. They get to the activation point. Really simple reach out. Hey, Steve, super pumped. We've actually now got you to a point of being over 10K a month and over $100 a day. Now's going to be a fantastic time for us to take this off your plate. Look at the results we've achieved with us just guiding you. Imagine the results we can get when we take this off your plate. Let's jump on a call and discuss next steps. Really simple. If you get them to that point, your ascension percentage is going to be almost 100%. But here is the secret sauce. So remember how I told you before, our simple pricing structure, which you can just copy, is that our done with you offering was essentially 50% of the fee. Okay, so we charge a minimum 1K a month for done with you. Our done for you starts at 2K a month. Okay, you can literally copy that straight out the gate. Real simple pricing model. We've played around with it and we found this works extra well. We've gone up to a bit more like 1.2, 1.5. We lose conversions. We go lower, it doesn't increase conversions anymore, so we're just losing revenue. Okay, so this works especially in the agency space. But here is what's key. When you ascend clients, you do not want to just credit their amount and move them on. We've had so many clients, I kid you not. Okay, so let's just keep the numbers really simple. Let's say a client comes on board right now and they do 1K a month on a 6-month term. Okay, so essentially they sign up to pay 6K in full for 6 months done with you services. We've had clients that will literally get to the activation point in the first 30 days and then ascend and pay another 6K in full for 3 months of done with you. Of done for you. Okay. What's really funny is the client is not, I can promise you this from testing, the client is not sitting there and thinking, oh my God, I've spent 12 grand in 30 days with this business. Okay. They're only worried about this next fee here. Okay. Which is kind of crazy, but I promise you, no one will ever think about the 12K. Okay. And very few people might, but honestly, it's super rare. Trust me, we've ascended countless people at this stage. This really isn't a concern. But there's two things you can do here. So the optimal goal is to just jump on a call and say, okay, so look, we want to send you into done for you right now. 3 months done for you is 6K. So if you're happy, I've got your card details on file. We can get that billed and move you straight over. Okay. Most of the time you won't have very many objections. However, sometimes you will have a bit of pushback. So the number one goal is basically ascend into a PIF. Okay. Your secondary option is a credit strategy. Now, this credit strategy is key, so just make sure you follow this, all right? Let's go back to this instance. What you do not want to do here is say, okay, let's say a client's been with you for 3 months. They paid 6K, okay? They've been with you for 3 months, so essentially they're due a 3K credit. So what you don't want to do is say, hey, you've got a 3K credit here. We'll move you straight over to done for you, and that's 1.5 months free, and then we'll bill you again in 1.5 months at 2K a month. You don't want to do that. What you also don't want to do, it's a better option, but you also don't want to do this. What you also don't want to do is say, okay, you've got a 3K credit, you can pay an additional, top up of 3K, and that'll get, so essentially then you've got 6K and you've got 3 months. Okay. So you could just say, I want you to top up, pay an extra 3K and top you up. If you do this, by the way, you'll get like almost 100% take rate on this. Okay. So you do not want to just credit time with no payment. You never, ever, 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 ever want to do that. Okay. Second option, also not the most optimal. You could top up their remaining balance. You've got 3K left. Let's top up another 3K. That equals a 3-month done for you PIF. You've now got 3 months of done for you. You could do that. What is more optimal is you want to essentially get them to pay in full for an additional 3 months plus the top up amount. Okay. So what's better in this instance is, they can top up 3K and get them 3 months. So what you want to do is you want them to pay the 3K plus, let's say it's 6K for a normal 3-month pay in full. You basically want to say, if you pay 9K today, that's going to get you 6 months. All right. So then what have you done? You've collected 9K plus a 3K payment. You've essentially just collected 12K within, I don't know, let's say they ascend in 3 months. You've collected here 12 grand in 3 months, okay? You're basically going to get an extra 9K payment. Remember, they made this payment 3 months ago. Ain't nobody remembering that. They're just going to be buzzing that you're giving them a credit. And the fact that you're giving them a credit and you just assume the sale on a 6-month period, you just say out that that's default. So look, we only do 6-month contract minimums on done for you, which is, 12K for the 6 months. However, because you've been a great customer and because you're moving over early, I've actually managed to get, I've spoken to the CEO or whatever, I've spoken to the big boss. If you've got, if it's a sales member, if it's you got the relationship, but like, I don't usually do this, but obviously because we get on super well, you've done 3 months in Done With You, you've got 3 months left, which equates to about a 3k credit. We actually don't usually do this, but I'm actually, willing to knock this off if you pay in full today. So it's 9k if you pay in full, and that'll get you 6 more additional months from today, 6 months of Done For You, and we'll completely take it off your plate. How does that sound, or how do you want to move forward? Really, really powerful. And like I said, what's really crazy about this is if you had somebody that's just come in for Done For You, let's use the instance of 30 days. Somebody comes on board straight for Done For You, and let's say you charge them 6k. Or you could have an instance where somebody comes in for Done With You, they pay, let's say 6k, but for 6 months, they then ascend within 30 days. So you say, okay, it's 6 months plus a 1k credit, an additional 5k. So you get the 6k, then 30 days later, you get another 5k, and you basically get 11k. So not only have you got the opportunity to cash in on the leaky bucket of revenue you weren't collecting before, but you then have the ability to ascend them and make more money even in the first 30 days than if they went straight for Done For You. And what we found is, because a lot of times at this point you've already got them such a quick win and you've proven yourself and they've built a really great relationship with you, you'll actually notice as well that your LTV and your retention will actually go up from these leads, because you've already got them to a point, that key activation point where they've broken through with you. They've got so much trust. And look, if you've done any coaching consultant before, it's really strange. It's such a different dynamic. Like we notice the trust and expertise straight out the gate when you do Done With You. Like when you act as a coach and you coach people, the trust it builds, which is a key part of retention, by the way. Trust is a key part of retention, that they trust your expertise. Like you can still do that on Done For You, but it just takes a little bit longer to build. We found just from like day one, but like, hey, here's your coach. Okay. It's just crazy framing, but you get way higher LTV, way higher retention when they do finally ascend as well. And then a final tip for you to round off here. And if you do this again, you're going to increase your ascension percentages. So we've tested having a Done With You team. So we have a team of like coaches and account managers for Done With You that are separate from Done For You. We've actually recently transitioned over to basically our Done For You account managers also have Done With You clients. Okay. We've just found that to work really, really well. What's interesting is, guess what? When it's time to ascend, you can literally frame it as, hey, I will be the one. I will be your account manager. Okay. So it's really, it's really crazy, but if you've got the coach that's got them to that point, then it's like, hey, look, I literally will be the person to run your ads for you. We've noticed that to be far greater success than having a separate team on this. And what's crazy numbers is, let's say, we have 12 people on Done For You at 2k, so let's say they can, average account manager there can build 24 grand a month, or 24k a month, let's just call it 300k a year. Okay, still good margin, happy days. But what we noticed really interestingly is you could probably have 50 plus on Done With You, and that's actually 50k a month, even though the fees half the price and over 600k a year. Really, really important to note though, ascension here. So this sounds great on paper, right? But ascension is essential. Okay, write this down. Right, honestly, open your notes, write this down. Ascension is essential to this business model. The problem with Done With You is when it becomes like consulting and education based, when they get the knowledge that they need, if they've paid in full, fine. But if they haven't paid in full and they're split paying, maybe they're paying monthly. We found this to be around 3 to 4 month mark. Okay. If they haven't got to the activation point within 3 to 4 months, but they've got all the information from you, once they've got the information from you, the chance that they go delinquent skyrockets through the roof. Okay. Obviously, if they go delinquent, that's absolutely not what you want. Okay. That's the issue with Done With You based services, is once they've got the information and they feel like they can't learn anymore, they will go delinquent. So ideally, you want to get them to the stage of being qualified to work with you within the first 3 to 4 months, and then you want to ascend them. If you do that, that gives you the absolute best chance, because ultimately, if you're coming on for Done For You, look, nobody's got 0% churn, right? Churn happens for a variety of reasons. Nobody's perfect. There's human error. People buy businesses off people that have their own marketing teams. There's tons of reasons why businesses may churn, but on theory, if you're coming in, you're giving them all that education, but you're also saving them time and you're getting them results, there's a far greater chance that they're going to be able to stay with you forever and ever and ever and ever. Okay. A key part of this is you want to ascend them as second that you can, because you're going to massively ramp up your LTV. And at the end of the day, you basically just want to take your LTV, just a real quick metric here for you, take your LTV, times it by the amount of customers that you get a month. And that's just going to be your rev ceiling. Okay. So if you can have, for context, let's say you bring on 10 new clients a month. Okay. And your LTV is 10K, then that's a 100K a month business, okay? But if you bring on still 10 customers a month, but your LTV becomes 30K because you retain your clients longer, ascend them better, add more platforms, that can be 300K a month from the same amount of leads that you bring in. So it's really, really key that you ascend these where you can, because you buy yourself a higher chance of LTV, and the money you make in your agency, the scale comes from LTV. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.